Dr. Myra Kestrel never believed Earth would witness a sight like the one tearing across the night sky. She stood alone on the rooftop of the Helios Observatory as the horizon pulsed with streaks of white-blue light, each flash brighter than lightning yet eerily silent. The stars vanished behind a rippling distortion, as though the sky folded inward. Her comm pinged once. "Myra, tell me you're seeing this," said Commander Rourke from the ground station below. "Seeing it," she replied, unable to look away. "And I'm not sure whether to record it or run." Another ripple spread outward. This one cracked like shattering crystal. The world trembled. Birds scattered. Power grids flickered across an entire city quadrant. The distortion collapsed inward, forming a blazing sphere. It quivered, then ruptured. A ship exploded out of the void. It wasn't sleek or symmetrical. It lurched, corkscrewing uncontrollably with hull plates torn open, venting vapor and burning debris. Its shape suggested a species that never built for elegance: thick spinal plating, folded protective shells, layered compartments crushed inward by forces Myra couldn't imagine. The ship's engines sputtered and died. Then gravity claimed it. The vessel plummeted. Myra's scientific instincts overrode her fear. She sprinted for the stairwell, forcing her voice steady. "Crash trajectory heading toward Sector 9. It's going down fast." Rourke's tone hardened. "Evac protocols already triggered. Meet me at the hangar in 2 minutes." She pushed through the stairwell door. "If that ship carries hostile forces. If they're hostile, we deal with it." Rourke paused. "But my gut says refugees. Something chased them through that rift." Myra didn't answer. She suspected the same. Sector 9 lay on the outskirts of New Cascade, a half-abandoned district reclaimed by nature after the last climate recoil. Dense clusters of mutated ferns and thick-barked trees lined the cracked streets. Myra and Rourke's shuttle skimmed above the foliage, thrusters cutting through pockets of dust and drifting spores. Smoke rose from the crash site in a jagged column. Rourke maneuvered the shuttle through an opening in the canopy, landing near a ridge of broken concrete. "Stay sharp," he ordered as the ramp dropped. Myra gripped her scanner. Rourke carried a kinetic carbine. Neither spoke while approaching the crash site. The alien ship had carved a trench through the soil, leaving molten streaks glowing faintly red. Its hull was cracked open like a ruptured shell. Strange fluid dripped down its sides, translucent, iridescent, almost pearl-like. The air smelled metallic and sharp. Myra stepped closer, heart pounding. The architecture, nothing like the Varkelians or the Tendril. "I've never seen this design." Rourke scanned the damaged plating. "Look here." This wasn't a crash from a malfunction. He pointed at melted hull sections and deep scarring. "These are weapon impacts." Myra's breath tightened. Someone, or something, had hunted this ship. A soft scraping echoed from inside the breach. Rourke raised his weapon. Movement. Myra advanced to his shoulder. Her scanner flickered. Life signs, faint. Several. Low metabolic readings. The scraping grew louder. Then a figure crawled into view. It was humanoid, but only in the loosest sense. Elongated limbs. Digitigrade legs. Skin covered in overlapping bioluminescent scales cracked and dulled from exhaustion. A crest of frayed tendrils hung from its skull like wilted foliage. Its eyes, large, reflective, deeply set, fixed on Myra with a mixture of fear and desperate hope. The creature collapsed. Myra rushed forward despite Rourke's warning shout. She caught the alien's head gently, supporting it as it gasped, trembling. "It's dying," she whispered. The alien's throat vibrated. At first Myra thought it was choking, but then she realized it was trying to speak. A guttural clicking pattern emerged. Broken. Hesitant. She activated her translator. The device struggled, analyzing the vocal structure. After a long moment, a fractured voice crackled through. "No, time, flee." Myra leaned closer. "Flee from what?" The alien's trembling hand pointed toward the sky. Before Myra could question further, thundering rips echoed high above. The clouds didn't move naturally, they recoiled, torn open by gravitational spikes. Myra felt the same pressure she had sensed during the initial tear, but this time sharper, predatory. Rourke's jaw tightened. Myra, we need to leave. Now. She clutched the alien's shoulder gently. How many survivors? Many, hidden. Myra glanced at the ship's dark interior. There were more. Rourke swore under his breath. Command will want them extracted, but we can't stay exposed. Whatever chased them is coming through. The alien shuddered. Its bioluminescence flickered weakly. Terran, strong, help. Myra blinked. You know us? The translator hissed through static. Stories, hope. Terrans protect. Rourke lowered his weapon slightly, surprise flickering across his expression. Well, that's a new one. First aliens to like us before meeting us. The alien's breath hitched. Enemy hunts, eradicated worlds. We ran, rift unstable, wrong path, not Earth, but safer than death. Myra felt a cold weight settle in her stomach. If they followed you here, then they've found Earth too, Rourke finished. A deep concussive boom rolled across the sky. Myra looked up. A second tear ripped open above the tree line. Larger. Sharper. Dark shapes pulsed behind the distortion. Not drifting like the refugee ship, but accelerating. Predators closing in. The alien reached for her wrist, grip feeble but urgent. Save our young. They fear, they hide. Myra nodded without hesitation. We will. Rourke touched his Alios command. This is Field Unit 7. Confirm hostile incursion. We have survivors from a non-Terran transport. They're civilians, repeat, civilians. Request immediate evac and air defense. Static answered. Then the comm went dead. Myra's pulse spiked. We're jammed. Rourke scanned the sky again. They're already in the atmosphere. We're on our own. Another rupture lit the canopy. This time, metallic shrieks echoed from within. Long, serrated silhouettes unfolded like blades. Their movements were cold, methodical. The alien in Myra's arms whispered a single word the translator struggled to shape. Harvesters. Rourke stepped in front of her, carbine raised. Myra, get the survivors out of that wreck. Whatever those things are, they're not landing to negotiate. Myra swallowed her fear. Give me 5 minutes. He nodded once. You'll have 3. The forest dimmed under the shadow of descending predators. Humanity had been drawn into a war it didn't know existed because a desperate species had stumbled into Earth's path on the run from extinction. And Terrans stood between them and death. Myra tightened her grip on her scanner and ducked into the ruined ship. Whatever hid inside, she would save them. Because humans didn't turn away from danger. They ran toward it. If you want Chapter 2, just say, write Chapter 2. Smoke curled through the broken corridors of the alien ship as Dr. Myra Kestrel moved deeper into its ruptured interior. The noise outside, metal shrieks, sonic rips echoing through the sky, pressed against her nerves like a warning she had no time to heed. Shadows clung to the fractured walls. Bits of crushed alloy and shattered crystal conduits littered the path ahead. The ship had suffered more than a catastrophic landing, it had endured a hunt. Her scanner pulsed faintly. 3 life signs. Very weak. Close. She hurried forward, stepping over a collapsed structural rib. The air inside the hold felt warm, thick, almost humid. Bioluminescent strips along the walls flickered erratically, casting pale green light across her face. The deeper she went, the quieter the world became. Even her own breathing seemed loud. Then she heard it, soft clattering. Nervous. Fragile. Myra slowed her pace. If anyone can hear me, she called gently, I'm here to help. A small figure darted behind a cluster of damaged cargo pods. Myra knelt slowly, lowering her hands. It's all right. You're safe with me. A second head peeked out, large reflective eyes glowing in the dim light. Children. Young by their species measure, though she couldn't guess their ages. Sleek-scaled, smaller crests, trembling limbs. The translator crackled with incomplete sounds. Their language was too weak, too broken for coherent phrases. Another presence shifted nearby. Myra turned to find an older alien, slumped against a crushed support beam. Its scales had dulled to a pale grey-blue. The creature's chest rose shallowly, breath unsteady. Myra rushed to its side and brushed debris away. "Stay with me," she whispered. Its eyes fluttered open. Recognition flickered there. Terran. The translator struggled but survived the attempt. "Children, protect." Myra nodded. "I will." She checked the alien's pulse through its scaled wrist. It was faint, erratic, but present. "Can you stand?" The alien shook its head slowly. "Too late for me. Save them, please." Myra felt the words strike harder than she expected. She had seen death in labs, on fields of research gone wrong, in data models predicting disasters, but nothing like this. An entire species fleeing annihilation. Parents begging strangers from another world to protect their young. She squeezed the alien's hand gently. "I promise." Behind her, tiny claws scraped against metal. The children edged closer, cautious but watching her intently. Myra extended a hand, palm up. "Come with me. We have to move. There are others like me outside." One of the children touched her fingertips, soft, trembling, trusting despite not having a reason to. That touch alone filled her with an unexpected surge of determination. A deep, metallic roar echoed from above. Not thunder. Not engines. Something predatory. Myra lifted her head sharply. "We need to leave. Now." Outside the ship, Commander Rourke crouched behind a fallen tree trunk, eyes locked on the sky. Dark silhouettes descended through the rift, folding like serrated wings, machines shaped with horrifying intelligence. Their surfaces glinted with shifting patterns, as if absorbing light rather than reflecting it. He activated his visor's magnification. "Harvesters," he muttered. "That's what they're called." The largest of them broke formation, dropping lower with predatory precision. Its limbs unfolded, long blades, jointed at unnatural angles. A faint hum vibrated through the forest as it scanned the crash site. Rourke whispered into his dead comm, half out of habit. "Command, come in. I could use backup. Or a miracle." Static answered. "Of course." The machine swept toward him. Rourke held his breath. If it detected heat, movement, or heartbeat signatures, he was finished. The harvester paused above the wreck, angling its crystalline eye arrays downward. Rourke gritted his teeth. "Myra, hurry." Inside the hold, Myra shepherded the two children toward the exit. She carried the older alien's small emergency pack on her shoulder, medicine, energy cells, and what looked like crystalline data shards. The ship groaned under the strain of collapsing supports. Vibrations from outside suggested impacts, machines landing or stalking through the area. One child tugged her sleeve. Its crest fluttered in distress. Myra knelt. "What's wrong?" It pointed toward a small container glowing faintly with embedded symbols. The container was cracked, but inside lay several embedded pods, perhaps eggs, or data cores, or biological samples. Myra inspected one. It pulsed faintly. Life. Not yet born. Her breath caught. "You kept them safe through all this." The child nodded, eyes shimmering. Myra hesitated only a moment before slinging the container carefully across her back. "We're taking these too." The child's shoulders eased. Behind them, something heavy crashed through part of the ship. The structure shook. Dust sifted down from the ceiling. Myra urged the children forward. "Move quickly. No noise." They slipped through the broken corridor. A gust of cold air blew through the breach, carrying the smell of burned wood and metallic ozone. Then she froze. A harvester stood in front of the exit. Its form was taller than she expected, easily 3 meters. Its limbs were thin but reinforced with segmented plating, each ending in slicing appendages. Its head was a cluster of angled glass-like sensors that shifted positions as though alive. The machine's body exuded an unnatural stillness, the kind that suggested deadly efficiency. It scanned the ship with an oscillating beam of pale blue light. The children trembled behind Myra, clawed hands tightening around her sleeve. She dropped behind a fallen support beam, drawing them close. She knew she had seconds to decide. The harvester pivoted slowly, its sensors aligning with the corridor. It had detected something. Myra's pulse hammered. She whispered, "Stay behind me. Don't move unless I tell you." The sound of kinetic fire erupted from outside. "Hey, metal head!" Rourke's voice roared. The harvester reeled toward the noise. Myra risked a look. Rourke had emerged from behind a shattered tree, firing precise bursts at the machine's joints. Sparks burst from the harvester's flank. Its counterattack was immediate. A razor-thin beam slashed across the ground, carving molten lines through the soil. Rourke dodged behind the tree stump again. "Myra," he shouted. "Run." She didn't think. She lifted both children into her arms, balanced the pod container against her back, and sprinted toward the breach. The harvester turned toward her. Rourke fired again, forcing it to change angles, dividing its attention. "Go. I'll hold it." Myra didn't waste breath arguing. She bolted from the wreckage, keeping the children close. The forest erupted with screeches as more machines descended. Rourke backed toward them, firing in controlled bursts. "We need to reach the shuttle before we're swarmed." Myra's lungs burned, but she kept running. The children clung to her, trusting her movement without hesitation. The container pulsed faintly, symbols warming against her back. A cluster of harvesters landed behind them, metal limbs slicing through fallen branches. Rourke grabbed her arm. "To the ridge. Move." They sprinted toward the tree line. The sky above thundered again, this time with the low rumble of engines Myra recognized. Human aircraft. A squadron of Terran interceptors streaked overhead, their sonic booms cracking the air. Rourke exhaled sharply. Finally. The harvesters turned. Their sensors upward. The forest, moments ago a trap, became chaos. Missiles streaked through the canopy. Trees caught fire. Machines scattered. Myra shielded the children from debris. Rourke guided her downhill, toward the clearing where smoke parted to reveal their shuttle alive, intact, engines primed. He opened the hatch. Inside. Now. Myra climbed aboard, still holding the trembling children. As the hatch sealed, she looked through the viewport at the burning forest and the advancing machines. Earth had been discovered. But humanity wasn't prey. And Myra wasn't leaving anyone behind. "If you want Chapter 3, just tell me, write Chapter 3. You said." The shuttle's engines rumbled beneath Myra's boots as the hatch clamped shut. The interior lights flickered, stabilizing as power rerouted across the small craft's metallic frame. Rourke sprinted to the cockpit, sliding into the pilot's chair, while Myra settled the two alien children into the padded bench behind her. Their scales vibrated with distress, a trembling rhythm that tugged at her chest. Myra activated the safety harness across their shoulders. "You're all right," she whispered, smoothing their crests gently. "We're leaving this place." The older child leaned into her side, exhausted but alert. The younger kept its gaze fixed on the viewport as the world outside erupted in orange firelight. The forest they'd fled was engulfed in a storm of burning branches, shattered soil, and streaks of kinetic trails from human aircraft. Rourke's voice cracked through the shuttle's speakers. "Myra, strap in. We're lifting off." She secured herself and braced as the shuttle lurched upward. It rose sharply, thrusters kicking dust and broken leaves across the clearing. Through the viewport, Myra saw harvesters sprinting across the ground, creatures shaped like towering blades, limbs clipping backward and forward with mechanical precision. One leapt. Its serrated limb sliced the underside of the shuttle, scraping metal with a sound that made the hull shudder. Myra grabbed the bench. "Rourke." "I know." His voice was terse, focused. "Hold on." The shuttle shot upward, engines screaming. The harvester lost its grip and plunged back into the burning trees. Myra exhaled as it vanished into the smoke below. The craft climbed through a column of fire and ash, emerging into clearer air. Above them, Earth's night sky remained torn open by the rift. Jagged fractures in reality pulsed like a wound refusing to close. And through those fractures, more silhouettes shifted. Harvesters. Dozens. Rourke steadied the shuttle and cut through the debris clouds. "Command should be picking us up. I just need a clean channel. Come on." Static flooded the comm. Myra leaned forward. "Try a broad-spectrum ping." They may have switched to emergency fallback frequencies. Rourke adjusted dials, tapping a sequence only high-ranking officers would know. The shuttle's systems spat out bursts of encoded pulses. On the third attempt, a voice cracked through. "Field Unit 7, respond." Rourke exhaled sharply. "Command, this is 7. We have alien civilians evacuated from Sector 9. The enemy is pursuing through an active rift. We need immediate interception and a secure landing zone." Command answered without delay. "Acknowledged. Redirecting air units and deploying ground shields. Proceed to Alios Base Alpha. Coordinates inbound." The transmission cut. Myra leaned back, tension loosening just enough to let her breathe. The children watched her with wide, reflective eyes. One finally spoke softly, translated through static. "Safe." She hesitated. She wouldn't lie. Safer than before. Not fully safe yet. "But we're getting there." The child nodded, trusting her word more deeply than she expected. Minutes passed. The shuttle sliced through the night toward Alios Base Alpha, a fortified facility nestled among ridges of steel and concrete. The base's shield towers glowed faintly blue as they powered up. Defense drones swarmed the sky. Myra recognized the pattern. Earth was preparing for a siege. She turned toward the children again. Their bioluminescence pulsed slowly now, a sign of stabilizing calm. But they were still holding the cracked container close, protective of whatever lay inside. Myra's gaze softened. "What are they? Eggs? Embryos?" The older child traced a small symbol along the container's surface. The translator deciphered fragments. "Future, last hope." Myra understood. She swallowed the ache rising in her chest. "We'll keep them safe." The shuttle dipped suddenly. Rourke cursed. "Incoming." Out of the clouds, a harvester drone streaked toward them, smaller than the ground units but built for pursuit. Its form curved like an obsidian arrowhead. Blue-white veins glowed along its chassis. It fired a thin beam of energy. The blast grazed the shuttle's left stabilizer. Myra jerked sideways as the interior shook. Sparks burst along the wall. Rourke gritted his teeth. "I'll shake it." He dove the shuttle toward a canyon ridge, engines screaming under the strain. The drone followed, slicing through the air with perfect control. Myra pulled the children close as the shuttle tilted sharply. "Rourke, you won't lose it like this." He didn't respond. He veered left, then suddenly braked midair using reverse thrusters. The shuttle stalled for half a second. The drone overshot. Rourke seized the moment. Not today. He fired the shuttle's ventral cannon. A blast of compressed plasma tore through the drone's rear thruster. It spiraled once, losing stability, then detonated in a burst of shards. Myra recovered her breath, shaking slightly. "Nice shot." He smirked without looking. "I'd frame it if we weren't busy." The children watched the explosion, their scales pulsing a new color, an unfamiliar shade Myra interpreted as relief. As Alios Base Alpha came into view, lights swept across the landing pads. Soldiers armed with rifles rushed toward reinforced bunkers. Shield barriers thickened around the perimeter. Air defense cannons turned toward the sky, tracking any non-human movement. The shuttle touched down with a shudder. Rourke powered down the engines. "Grab the kids. We're moving to the vault level." Myra unbuckled the children and slung the container over her shoulder. They stepped into the open air as soldiers rushed toward them. A lieutenant approached. "Dr. Kestrel?" "Commander Rourke. Secure Bay is ready. Follow me." Rourke gestured for Myra to lead. "Keep their eyes low. They're terrified enough." The walk through the base was quick but jarring. Sirens pulsed through the hallways. Data screens displayed the rift widening above Earth. Myra caught glimpses of enemy signatures, harvesters multiplying, organizing. They weren't just pursuing the refugees. They were preparing an invasion. Inside the vault, medical staff and xenobiologists waited. The children hesitated at the threshold, clutching Myra's sleeves. A medic stepped forward. "Dr. Kestrel, we can take them." Myra raised a hand. "Not yet. They respond to me. Let me guide them." The children followed Myra into the chamber. The older one touched the broken container again and whispered something too soft for the translator. Myra knelt to meet their gaze. "You're safe here. I'll be close." Their crests fluttered with gratitude. Then the vault doors sealed behind her. On the observation deck above the chamber, Rourke joined Myra. His expression was grim from whatever command had briefed him with. Myra spoke first. "They're children. And that container, whatever it holds, may be vital for their species' survival." Rourke nodded. "I figured as much." She studied his face. "What did command say?" He exhaled slowly. "The harvesters didn't just follow them. That rift, it's stabilizing. They're reinforcing it. More are coming." Myra's pulse quickened. "How long until a full breach?" "Hours." They stared at the sky through the deck's reinforced glass. The rift glowed like an open wound, spreading, deepening, humming with alien power. Myra felt the weight of the children's fear, the desperation of the crushed ship, the dying parent's plea. Rourke folded his arms. "Earth's preparing to fight." Myra tightened her jaw. "Then so am I." She looked down at the children below, their silhouettes small yet strong. Humanity had been chosen not by destiny, but by circumstance. And Myra was determined to meet that responsibility. The harvesters wanted extinction. But they had come to the wrong planet. Alarms throbbed through Alios Base Alpha like a heartbeat gone erratic. Red lights washed across the metallic walls, giving the corridors a stark, war-tinged glow. Dr. Myra Kestrel strode beside Commander Rourke toward the command center, her pulse keeping pace with the warning sirens. Every few seconds, the floor vibrated, evidence the rift overhead was growing, twisting space into a deeper wound. Inside the briefing chamber, holographic projections filled the air. Maps of the atmosphere. Predator signatures. Harvester formations drifting through fractured sky. Officers argued under their breath, their voices sharp with urgency. Rourke approached the central console. "Status." A defense analyst straightened. "The rift has expanded by another 3 kilometers. We count at least 60 harvester constructs preparing for entry, with more signatures building beyond visible sensors." Myra studied the projection. Clusters of slender shapes, too uniform to be biological, shifted in coordinated lines. Their patterns resembled methodical sweeps, like a predator marking territory before striking. The analyst continued. "If they breach the lower atmosphere, they'll target strategic installations first. Alios Base is high on the list." Rourke folded his arms. "They'll be coming for the refugees." Myra nodded. "We need to prepare for that." General Arista, a stern woman with silver-streaked hair and eyes that had seen too many wars, turned to face them. "Dr. Kestrel, your aliens, those children, what do they know about the harvesters?" Myra's mind replayed the trembling words she'd deciphered from their weak translator. Eradicated worlds, future, last hope. She stepped closer. They were hunted for extinction. The harvesters don't negotiate. They harvest resources, populations, and knowledge, wiping out every trace of a species they target. The children are their last survivors. And the container they carry holds potential future life. Arista's expression tightened. "Then humanity becomes the shield." Rourke added, "and the line they don't cross." The base's upper platforms roared with activity as soldiers deployed shield drones and missile arrays. Armored vehicles rolled into position. Engineers connected energy conduits, their tools sparking in the cold air. Myra watched from the walkway above, the children standing beside her. They clung to her sleeves, their scales pulsing with shifting colors, a mix of fear and determination. The cracked container hung safely in her grasp. The older child looked toward the rift, crest flattened. The translator attempted to interpret. "They come, always." Myra crouched to meet their gaze. "But this time is different. You're not alone anymore." Both children pressed their hands to hers. Their trust was a weight she carried willingly. Rourke approached from the lift, armored up, helmet clipped to his belt. "They're positioning the plasma grid around the perimeter. We just need to hold until command launches orbital reinforcements." Myra raised a brow. "Hours?" Less. He glanced at the sky. But we'll take minutes at this point. The rift thundered overhead, a sound like cracking stone magnified across the stratosphere. Light bled through the tear, illuminating the clouds with ghostly brilliance. Then the first harvester slipped out. Sleek. Serrated. Its limbs folded into itself until it rotated, aligning its sensors toward the base. Rourke tensed. Positions. The base defenses activated with a synchronized hum. Shield barriers flared to life, casting a dome of shimmering blue energy over the facility. Myra pulled the children behind a reinforced wall. Stay close and don't move unless I say so. The older child touched her hand again, a silent promise. Rourke sealed his helmet. Here we go. The harvester dove toward them. Cannons on the tower fired bursts of plasma, streaking the sky in lines of electric blue light. The construct twisted gracefully, evading the initial barrage. Its slicing beam carved a molten line across the shield, sending a ripple through the energy dome. More harvesters followed. Their slender forms passed through the rift in waves, each emitting a mechanical hum that sent chills down Myra's spine. Rourke's voice echoed through the target joint clusters. They adapt to repeated hits. The gunners adjusted aim. Explosions flickered across the sky. A harvester's wing tore away, sending it tumbling into the hillside. Myra shielded the children from the shockwave. Rourke, 2 on your left, she shouted. He pivoted, unloading kinetic rounds into an advancing construct. Sparks erupted as he struck a vulnerable seam. The harvester staggered, limbs convulsing. A second shot cracked through its core. Before it fell, another descended behind it, larger than the rest. Heavy plating. Multiple sensor clusters. The kind designed to lead incursions. The Sky Reaper. It locked onto Myra's position. Myra's stomach dropped. She pushed the children behind a storage crate. Stay hidden. The Reaper descended with a shriek, its limbs slicing through the ground for traction. Rourke fired at its flank, but the rounds ricocheted. Myra, move. She ducked as the Reaper lunged, claw-like limbs opening to seize its targets. Its sensors narrowed on the container at Myra's back, recognizing the very prize it hunted. Myra ran across the platform, breath sharp in her lungs. The Reaper chased her with terrifying precision. A plasma turret redirected its aim. Myra shouted, "Fire now!" The turret discharged a blazing bolt that slammed into the Reaper's side. Metal plates peeled away. Internal conduits sparked. The machine screeched, a sound that vibrated the air. But it wasn't destroyed. It turned its fury on the turret. A beam cleaved through the entire tower, sending fragments raining across the platform. Myra stumbled backward. The Reaper bore down on her, limbs raised. Rourke sprinted forward, firing his last round to distract it. Over here, you nightmare. The Reaper rotated, momentarily split between targets. That moment was enough. Myra grabbed a fallen shock lance from a dead soldier's pack. She ducked beneath the Reaper's limb and jammed the lance into the exposed seam the plasma blast had created. Electric current surged. The Reaper convulsed violently, limbs curling inward as its systems overloaded. Its sensors flickered, dimmed, then imploded as the machine collapsed with a metallic roar. The platform trembled from the impact. Rourke rushed to Myra. "You okay?" She caught her breath. Still standing. The children rushed from hiding, throwing their arms around her. Their scales glimmered in new patterns, gratitude, relief, hope. Above them, the rift wavered. The harvesters reacted, their formation suddenly chaotic. The tier shuddered, collapsing around its edges. Rourke looked up. "What's happening?" Myra answered before she fully grasped it. "Their reinforcement conduit is destabilizing." A transmission crackled through the base speakers. "Orbital reinforcements inbound. Stand clear." Earth's ships pierced the atmosphere, sleek, angular, armed with enough power to destabilize the rift entirely. They fired coordinated bursts into the tear. A blinding surge followed. The rift imploded. A shockwave rolled across the sky, scattering the remaining harvesters. Those left behind fell rapidly, their systems failing without their link to the main force. Silence settled over the base. Myra lowered her head, steadying her breath. The children clung to her once more, crests lifted with tentative joy. Rourke exhaled slowly. We held the line. Myra looked at the two young aliens and the fragile container holding their future. And we protected who needed us most. Earth had proven what the refugees once believed only in fading stories. Humans stood between danger and the innocent. And they never stepped aside.